Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again is the sequel to the 2008 film adaptation of a jukebox musical based on the music of Swedish supergroup ABBA. It is one of the most absurd films that I have ever seen. Okay, wait, before you go, let me explain. This movie is a weird movie disguised as a normal movie. It seems to not notice the strange choices it constantly makes.
And you make me show what I'm trying to conceal.
The direction feels so normal. Like the director said, and then we're gonna do another normal movie thing. And you as an audience member either accept that or you slowly slip into another realm. In an article for Vulture, Rachel Handler says the film feels like a dream you might have after falling off a ladder and being knocked unconscious. It's difficult to capture its psychedelic, heartwarming essence with mere human words.
Thank you.
Here's a list of the top 10 absurd things about Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. That's right, baby, it's a listicle. It's a BuzzFeed 2013 list. 1. The first scene. The movie begins with a drone shot of the Greek Isle where the first movie took place. Very pretty, very idyllic, and the movie title appears on screen. And then it pans up to the words Hotel Belladonna, which are in the sky, which, why are those there? And then it does an unsettling morph to the front of a postcard. Already, this film is keeping us on our toes. Pulling back from the postcard, we see Amanda Seyfried, aka Sophie, sitting at a table addressing invitations to the hotel's grand reopening. She walks downstairs, talks with Andy Garcia, aka Señor Cienfuegos. And then it cuts to a photo of Meryl Streep, framed, hanging on a wall. It pushes in slowly, as if to give it a wistful quality. Sophie says,
"This was her dream. I'm just trying to see it through."
Sorry, wait. Is Meryl Streep's character dead? Suddenly your mind is filled with a flood of questions which overwhelm the senses. She can't be dead, can she? Is she even in the movie? Why was she on the poster? She was literally the main character last time, and the first thing we learn in this movie is she's dead? Can you advertise someone in the marketing if they aren't in the movie? Why is she dead? How is she dead? What killed her? When and how did this happen? In the real world, was there a scheduling conflict? Did she decline to be involved? Did they write a draft that included her, and then she said no, and then they had to drastically change direction? Less than 3 minutes into this movie, 3, and it shoots cold water into your veins. You can't trust anything in this goddamn movie. It's about to twist and turn you around 9 ways to Sunday. We're in for a Gaspar Noé type experience, but in the aesthetic package of a rom-com. You're not safe here, but you're gonna have a good time. 2. The entire conceit of the film. Unlike Mamma Mia 1, which was based on a Broadway musical, Mamma Mia 2 is a fully original script. The producers, writers, and director came together to concoct a plot that aims to repeat the enjoyable beats of the first movie, but still expand on them somehow. It should include all the original actors, but if they aren't free or if they decline, they'll be written out. Which is actually what happened with Meryl. I looked it up, and the producers tactfully stated that Meryl doesn't love doing sequels. So, how do you accomplish something that complex? That's right. It's a prequel. They couldn't get Meryl, so they're going back in time with different actors playing their younger selves. According to that Vulture article I mentioned earlier, the co-writer was in the car with his daughter after they found out about the Meryl thing and was like, "Any ideas?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's obvious. It's gotta be like Godfather 2. That was a huge breakthrough, and it was so valuable to the film that Universal was like, we have to pay her, and they paid her $1. There's also a present day timeline where we get a half-baked kind of soap opera plot where Sophie is preparing for the grand reopening of her mother's hotel.
Oh, this is so beautiful. A little to the left, a little bit more, and down just a bit. Perfect. Good.
It manages to do the prequel thing, but also tie it to the present, reckoning with Sophie's place in the world after her mother's death. It's very strange, but also immensely rewarding that we're experiencing a film where the plot feels like the fourth most important thing behind musical numbers, cast, and spectacle. And the whole draw for this movie, like a good sequel, is to deliver on the promise of the first movie, but again. But this time, they've already used up a lot of the songs that are universally recognizable. So basically, this movie is structured around all the hits that didn't make the cut. The stage musical had carte blanche to use any ABBA songs they wanted and could build the plot around them. But this time, they're using the songs that were likely harder to incorporate into the plot. This is one of the central pillars of the absurdity of this movie. If you're looking for an answer to why is this scene happening on the screen in front of me, the answer is to justify a musical number, which just makes for such a deliciously strange plot. 3. The graduation scene. As Sophie stares at the portrait of her mother, which for context we just learned is dead, it slowly fades to an overhead shot of an auditorium of graduation caps. You must understand, we have to this point never really experienced a scene in the Mamma Mia universe that isn't in Greece. And then slow fade, New College, Oxford, 1979? This is where we meet the young versions of Donna and the Dynamos, played in the first movie by Meryl Streep, Julie Walters, and Christine Baranski.
Dynamos! Dynamite! Sleep all day and boom all night! Dynamos! Dynamite! Sleep all day and whoop all night!
And young Meryl is played by Lily James. But for the entire movie, one lingering question was eating at me. Is that Carly Rae Jepsen? Every time I saw her, I was like, is it? And then we hit the credits, not Carly Rae. This scene is charming, but it's a textbook graduation scene. Young Donna gets up to give a speech, and surprise, she whips off her cap and her robes, and she sings "When I Kissed the Teacher." It's all good fun. Kissing the teacher? So to summarize, we are watching a scene with all new actors we have not yet become invested in an all new location, singing an ABBA song I had never heard of before. It's probably on me. Lily James is giving it her all, but somehow everything feels flat. We have no prior context for how to feel about this location or these people or what her college experience was like, and we never will. The scene feels almost dissociative to me. You're witnessing a major life event for a character you've essentially never met. You're stuck to your seat watching events happen. The passage of time is abstracted and you feel all the years of your life weighing on your shoulders. This is the first scene in the prequel storyline, but it happens so soon after introducing the present day storyline. And then the musical number starts and everything feels like it comes to a screeching halt. This is a common thing musicals have to overcome. Are the songs aiding the plot or slowing it down? Songs at their best can depict the emotional inner world of a character in ways that dialogue really can't. They don't have to contain whole scenes, but their inclusion should at least feel like a continuation of the plot rather than a detour. In the world of jukebox musicals, I feel like there's a little bit more grace because the songs are pulled from an existing catalog, but if they're not incorporated gracefully, musical numbers can make you feel kind of like trapped or restless, anxious to get back to the story. But what if a musical could use this feeling of killed momentum, of a disorienting detour, to achieve an emotional goal? What if the graduation scene attempts to alienate the viewer, to set a starting point for the emotional reality of its characters? Sure, these graduates look like they're having a good time, but they're on the verge of an unfamiliar post-college world. They're about to be adults, free to make choices and mistakes. And though it's not in the dialogue, their anxieties are communicated through the creation of this claustrophobic cul-de-sac feeling, through the dysfunction of the storytelling apparatus. Is it poor craftsmanship, or is it creating a Lynchian ennui, an entirely unfamiliar emotional landscape, a completely novel context in which to enjoy the timeless tunes of Swedish musical supergroup ABBA? 4. Setup and payoff. Even if the plot can at times feel contrived, this film absolutely sticks the landing on setup and payoff. You've probably heard this before, but narrative storytellers often use this tool called the rule of three. It follows this pattern. First, a thing is established, often not drawing much attention to itself, but enough for you to recall it next time you see it. Second, you're reminded about that thing. And third, the thing is a part of a reveal. So if there was no setup, then the reveal wouldn't feel as meaningful, but if the reveal has been foreshadowed, then it makes the significance elevated, and it makes it all the more satisfying. Here's an example from this movie. The hotel manager, Señor Cienfuegos.
Buenos días. Be still my beating vagina.
He's a new character. He's always running around being a handsome gentleman and charming the guests, having everything under control, but we never learn his first name or much about him at all. What's his deal? Also, they keep dropping these ominous hints about Sophie's grandmother. In the first scene, Sophie addresses a postcard to her, but then she rips it up, claiming she never shows up anyways.
Just tell me you didn't invite your grandmother.
Wicked Witch of the West.
She hasn't been seen outside of Las Vegas for decades.
Every time she's brought up in the movie, they talk about how she's overbearing and complicated, chaotic and absent, and how she disowns her daughter after she gets pregnant. Setup, reminder, 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 reminder. So we're left asking, who is this grandmother? What's her deal? Are we going to meet her later? 5. Amanda and Dominic's nightmare realm.
A little to the left, a little bit more, and down just a bit. Perfect. Good.
Sophie and her fiance are feeling conflicted. He just got offered a job as a hotel manager in New York City, the city of dreams. But Sophie thought they were gonna live together at the Hotel Belladonna. It's a solid plot beat, but just look at the absolute nothing that's going on Amanda Seyfried's face. She is fully thinking about something else. She is conserving her energy. I think she does great in the rest of the movie, but in this scene, it almost looks like she's thinking about how she has to do laundry later. But wildly, it doesn't even hurt the film that much. You'd think one of the leads phoning it in a little bit would hurt the movie, right? No, this movie is too powerful to be brought down by mere actors. In fact, I almost feel like her flat performance adds something. And then we get Dominic popping in for the next verse.
One of us is lonely. One of us is only.
And his performance also deeply lackluster. He looks like he just woke up. And this set, it's fine. But for some reason, something feels incredibly artificial about it. It feels like one of the most set-like sets I've seen in a film. Somehow it's not coming together in a way that feels real and lived in. It feels like their rooms are archetypes more than locations. Was this due to a budget constraint or strange lighting? Or did they intentionally create a surrealist environment, a location which is at once a bedroom and a film set to keep us from settling into the world too comfortably? Intentionally or not, this design choice and acting works together to create an emotional landscape that is so bleak and nightmarish that it transcends the narrative reality of the characters. And then, in the big reveal of the scene, the sets are built right next to one another. Their backs lean against the same wall, which rips us out of the believability of the continental separateness to realize that they are, in fact, on a soundstage. But then, just as you've maybe gotten comfortable with this cute little gimmick, oh, you fool, you rube, then in the very next shot, we are violently thrust back into reality as we see in the corner of the room has been filled in. That wall was not there in the shot before, but suddenly, in a single frame, it is back. It makes us feel the character separation by way of an upsetting edit. You cannot become too comfortable in this world as the film continually seeks to remind you that this fantasy has been manufactured. This scene constantly transitions between worlds in such impossible and maximalist ways. Shirt transition. Mirror transition. It just keeps coming. It's so incessant that it makes me wonder, is this movie a continuation of the tradition of epic theater? Where theater practitioners like Bertolt Brecht consciously avoided the trappings of emotion and melodrama and instead made choices designed to evoke strong emotional reactions in the audience, consciously alienating them so they would be forced to engage with the work differently. Flat performances and surreal set pieces that draw attention to the falseness of the artifice of theater and make the audiences realize they're watching a play. 6. Why does the sequel exist? I got tea, and I'm gonna go down to I got tea. When I heard this movie was coming out, nearly 10 years after the original, I was intrigued and delighted, of course, but also confused. For some reason, there was this unspoken rule in my mind that you can't make sequels to adaptations. There's not a sequel to the stage musical, only to the movie. So there's more canon in the world of the movies than there is in the world of the stage show. A Mamma Mia cinematic universe, if you will. So why does it exist? Well, because the first one made so much f***ing money. $611 million worldwide on a $52 million budget. That is 11 times more than it cost to make. So that's the answer. It's money. The main reason they waited so long to greenlight a sequel was largely due to casting and scripting, but it was finally announced in May 2017 and released in July 2018. Let me just go back there for a second. That's 14 months between announcement and release. They started shooting in August 2017 and finished in December, and then in the next 6 months, they edited it, did VFX, color graded, mixed, and marketed it. This film feels somehow rushed yet whole, illogical yet cohesive, frivolous yet significant. It's somehow both a cash grab and a passion project, a commodity and a work of art. It is, and I am not joking, one of the best examples of the intersection of film as a business, an art form, and an entertainment medium. In my book, that's about as successful as any sequel could ever be. 7. Everyone is having so much fun shooting this movie. They cannot hide it. They're enjoying the hell out of this. They get to be in this sexy little musical and sing and run around and shit. Like, how could you contain? They are grinning on the inside. It's almost like disconcerting how powerfully this movie emits positive energy.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming, thank you.
And it's also weird seeing all these established and often prestige actors in completely different roles than we're used to seeing them in. Like, especially Pierce Brosnan, who's best known for playing a sexy, stoic secret agent. But here, he's a well-meaning, doofy dad who can't sing. Part of the dreamlike, hallucinatory quality of this movie comes from its simple, effusive joyfulness. There are a lot of filmmakers who make movies that make audiences feel icky and gross and unsettled, but I haven't seen a lot of movies that can make you feel lightheaded and blissed out like this. But you must remain vigilant. This casting technique, it lowers your defenses. It makes you weak, lulls you into an impressionable state, unable to fight off its strange chaos. Speaking of psychological warfare, 8. Musical numbers start like jump scares.
That's how most of my marriages ended too.
One of this film's most evil tools is the way it regularly refuses to segue into songs. They'll just start with no warning.
But as you run away, you tell her you're the one in pain and she's just too much for you to handle.
Like this?
9. Waterloo and Diegesis. Musical movies are notoriously hard to land because of suspension of disbelief. They have to create a tone and establish a reality that makes characters singing out of nowhere feel acceptable, if not normal. So naturally, to maximize surrealism, this movie throws that out the f***ing window. Take, for example, the Waterloo scene.
This would be my first time.
You're kidding.
Young Harry and Donna are having a meal at a Napoleon-themed restaurant, as one does, and all of a sudden, he bursts into song and confesses his love to her. So, the filmmakers had a choice. Do you construct the musical number more diegetically, like it's happening in the real world, or do you construct it more metaphorically, like it's an imagined reality, a break from the literal? Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again instead engages in multi-track drifting, choosing to do both at once. At the beginning of the scene, all the patrons in the background are having their own little conversations, but all of a sudden, the main characters start singing and dancing. If this is diegetic, then you would probably expect the patrons to react somehow, probably like shocked and confused. If this is metaphorical, maybe they'd join in and start singing. But neither happens. The patrons don't respond at all. They don't even f***ing look up. They seem to exist in an entirely different reality. For the first 30 seconds, there are only 2 people who react in any semblance of a normal way, barely. There's the host, who is on the phone. Harry steals a napkin from him, and he's like, but he's mildly inconvenienced. And then there's this guy, who gives them like a tiny disapproving glance. But nobody else. Nobody else. The song continues. Donna screams. She slams her hands on tables. No responses. But after a bit, the world of the dream starts to expand. Harry puts his hand on the host's shoulder and he immediately stands at attention and sings. Then come the waiters who strike a quick pose. Apparently they're in on it now. Finally, On the second repetition of the chorus, a minute into the song, there is an instantaneous, cataclysmic vibe shift, as the patrons swap from complete unawareness to full participation. There is no transitional period. It is tectonic. They snap their heads as if possessed, and all simultaneously join in the musical number. From then on, they're in on it, and the discord of multiple realities has settled. Thank God. Okay, let's also take a moment to analyze Lily James's performance in this scene. She seems to be playing two opposing emotions. In this shot, she's beaming, obviously tickled and impressed by the coordinated dancing, but her lips purse and her eyes widen, communicating disapproval. Sure, maybe she's pushing up against his sudden confessions of feelings for her, but she also seems concerned that he's making a scene. But if she's embarrassed about this, that means she realizes that on some level, she exists in the diegetic reality where people can hear them. But she's simultaneously being invited into Harry's reckless love, which aligns more with the dream reality. She's in this strange position as an actor, as she has to create a performance which reacts to all of this as if it were literally happening and were not literally happening. For the first 60 seconds, she exists in a superposition between fact and fiction. But only then, when he invites her to dance with him, is she finally facing her Waterloo. It's at that very moment that the patrons enter into their reality, raising a glass to her, encouraging her. It's only then that the sense of reality seems to settle. Donna finally relents and embraces the madness. Intentionally or not, the first 60 seconds of this song dramatizes her arc in this scene, starting reluctant, fearful, discordant, and ending as an enthusiastic participant, fully surrendering to her feelings for Harry. So what I'm saying is, the film utilizes this ambiguous fabric of narrative reality as a storytelling device. The rest of the scene consists of baguette saxophone, baguette sword fighting, whipping a tablecloth, chef's pan bursts into flame, pretending to be a matador, disappearing behind a giant French flag, appearing clear across the room, galloping on benches, dance party, 48 people in a 4-row formation doing choreography, waiter dance, woman in a wheelchair amazing dance solo, feeding grapes on a moving cart, shots, the old heads on platters trick, and a cameo from actual ABBA member Benny Anderson. I would like to draw attention to this shot in particular. I am not joking when I say this shot gets damn close to utilizing the full potential of the filmmaking medium. The motion is entrancing, with the patrons exiting left and right as we keep a steady pace with the waiters until we end close on Harry and Donna. Then, and nothing could have prepared me for this, they hit us with the goosenecks.
Little fussy neck dog!
At the end of it all, everyone goes back to their tables, the lights dim, back to the way they were before the dance sequence began, signaling at last that what we just saw may or may not have actually happened. The patrons resume their conversations, but they seem somehow happier than before. Maybe it wasn't a dream, after all. 10. Horse in the basement. I think this might be my favorite scene. Donna is staying in this abandoned house on the hill, on an island she's never been on, and it just started to storm. And she hears a strange noise, so she goes downstairs to explore. And it's a horse. She kind of squints like, am I seeing that right? The horse is freaking out and it's tied to a pole and it gets spooked and pulls the rope and it collapses the load-bearing pole and the ceiling collapses. Donna nearly dies.
Wait there, okay? Be back.
But here's the real question that left me wondering for so long. Why is there a horse in the basement? What is it doing down there? How did this horse get down there? Is that a sliding door? It's unclear. How long was it down here? Does the horse live down here? If so, why does the horse live in the basement? Is anyone checking on the horse? Upon further inspection, I think this might be a separate building from the main house, but on my first 2 watches of the film, I thought this was the main house's basement. So then she runs to go get help. She's running on a gravel road and there's a guy on a motorcycle. She waves him down and tells him to stop. And he's like, "Can I help?" This is young Sam, by the way, young Pierce Brosnan. And then they go back and try to calm down the basement horse, make it feel safe.
All right, my friend. Storms are scary.
And then 40 minutes later, she is rewarded for her kindness.
That farmhouse on the hill you're sleeping in, who you think owned it? I do. Me.
The owner of this horse says, "I know you have a good heart because the way you treat animals." And she says she can stay in the house for free forever because she saved the horse, whose name we learn is Hector.
And you are kind to Hector, my horse.
But why was there a horse in the basement? Why was there a horse in the basement in the first place? All right, everyone, that's the list. Thanks for watching. And okay, I lied. There are way more than 10 things on this list. 11, they just redo songs that were in the first movie. So you know how I talked earlier about how this sequel is basically the same premise, but with all the unused ABBA songs? Well, they also reused 4 songs. This is so funny to me. It's not against the rules, I guess. There's not really any rules, so I guess they're not really breaking them, but I just kind of figured that in the sequel they'd try and only use songs they didn't already use. The fever dream atmosphere just grows stronger with all these strange ass choices that are technically not wrong. The 4 they reused are Have a Dream, which is used at a voiceover at the end of the first movie, so I guess they didn't do the whole song then. I guess it's sort of a gimme. Super Trooper, which is like part of the origin story of Donna and the Dynamos because they perform it in the first movie. Mamma Mia, like, of course, why did I think they wouldn't sing the titular song? And 12, Dancing Queen. I can describe what this scene is, and I can describe why it's absurd on a technical level, but I seriously struggle to describe how it makes me feel. I do not know how it makes me feel.
You can dance, you can try, having the time of your life.
It makes me feel like I am full of helium. It makes me feel like I am being pranked. When I saw this in theaters, I was hyperventilating. I was clutching both sides of my head and giggling. It transported me. I think the best way I can describe this is through editing terms, because I'm an editor. Sure. I don't know. Okay, let's go. In editing for narrative storytelling, each shot provides new information. Duh. New facial expressions, characters, reactions, compositions. Different types of shots, like close-ups versus long shots, are able to communicate different types of information. Ideally, a reason we cut to a new shot is to answer a question posed by the previous. Usually, like, what are they looking at? Where are they going? Who is that person? How is this person going to feel in reaction to that sentence, etc. For example, in this shot, Donna unintentionally reveals some bitter feelings about her mother.
I am definitely staying here forever.
Yeah, your mum wouldn't miss you.
She's not that kind of a mom.
In this over-the-shoulder-ish shot, we focus on her, and because we're so close, we get a clearer look at the emotions on her face. But because we're focusing on her, you can't see much of him. This shot asks the question, what does Sam feel about what Donna just said? So, to answer that, we cut to him.
She's not that kind of a mom.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
The tension of that brief question is resolved, and it feels satisfying. Then we hold on him, we don't know what she's feeling, then we cut back.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, this isn't a sob story. I'm fine. And it's not easy being a mother. If it was, fathers would do it.
Well, I wish I could stay here too.
We could have hung on this wide shot for the whole scene and seen both of their reactions simultaneously, but using a closer take feels more personal and gives us a better look at how the characters feel about what's being said. The director and the editor decided that the dramatic questions of the scene were best addressed by using the shots they used. Make sense? Okay, back to Dancing Queen. Why am I doing this with my hands? For context, Sophie's been having second thoughts about the opening, and a rainstorm just came and wiped out their decorations, and a lot of people can't make it, so she's really bummed.
I just got a call saying that because of the storm last night, no flights have come into Athens at all. It really is over, and I've let everybody down.
But then, on the distance, through her binoculars,
Take a look.
she sees hundreds of people coming in on boats. And Bill and Harry came after all. So, any lingering questions we have about what's going on are answered in the first few seconds of the song. We've seen the boats and who's on them, and we've established how everyone feels about this. So now, the only questions are, when will they arrive? What will happen when they do? To which the answers are, soon and dance. So for the majority of the song, there's basically no new questions that get asked. We're just kind of like holding our breath on those, and we're seeing a lot of similar shots. They show some of the boat, then some of the dancing, then the boats and the dancing. But like, why does this in specific feel so strange? And that's where the editing theory comes in. These edits are providing no new information. They are not answering many questions, and they are not asking many new ones. So in terms of film language, the film is like repeating the same sentence over and over until the words start to lose meaning. I think one of the reasons it feels so strange is because the boat shots are so visually similar to one another. They're all from a helicopter or a drone, and they do try and swoop around and get some motion in there, but there's only so much you can do to get multiple distinct angles from that far away. Each time we cut back, it starts to feel repetitive, and then the hotel people are also just kind of playing one note the whole time, just kind of giving woohoo, celebrate vibe for 3 whole minutes. So when you cut these together, it's so surreal. It feels like a call and response in which neither party has anything to say to one another. It's like that video where someone edited out all the dialogue from Dr. Phil, so it's just all the pauses. We keep waiting for there to be something communicated, but we just end up holding our breath, hoping someone will finally do something new. And the entire time this is happening, they're just singing Dancing Queen. Why Dancing Queen? There's like no, this is maybe the first time in the movie where there's just no plot justification for the song. They're just like, F it. Something I think makes this movie special, its absurdism isn't cynical. No shade to Samuel Beckett, but this isn't Waiting for Godot. Like, this isn't an exploration of the meaninglessness of life in the shadow of the horrors of World War II. It's just a fun delirium. 13, the big payoff. In its last 20 minutes, MMHWGA springs its final trap. It short circuits your brain with a deluge of spectacle.
What is that?
What?
That noise.
So you know how when I was talking about setup and payoff, I mentioned that thing about the grandmother? We watched Sophie throw her invitation away. But then...
I don't want anything remotely shocking or different to happen in the next decade.
Yes.
What?
Too late.
You know she couldn't stay away, and that's right, baby, it's Cher.
Mes enfants, je suis arrivé.
This is Sophie's grandmother. That is one of the most satisfying and memorable reveals of all time. You know what this jukebox musical of songs from the 60s and 70s needed? One of the most iconic living pop stars. And that's the thing. I knew Cher was gonna be in this movie before I saw it. She was on the poster. They set up her presence in the marketing, and then they wait and wait and wait till the finale to reveal her presence. It's Chekhov's Cher. And then, part 2 of the payoff, this guy, the hotel manager, Señor Cienfuegos,
Ruby!
apparently he used to be her lover in Mexico in 1959.
Mi amor, Mexico 1959.
And his name is Fernando.
Fernando?
And they sing Fernando together. According to that Vulture interview, when the director pitched this idea, the co-writer reportedly fell off his chair laughing. He acknowledges it's a 102-minute setup to one joke. 14. Cher descending stairs. While singing Fernando, Cher descends 12 steps over the course of 40 seconds.
There was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. Fernando.
That's approximately 3.3 seconds per step.
For liberty. Fernando. Going there.
This was somehow upsetting to me in a deep way I do not understand. But then Cher was there, singing to me, and it comforted me.
I would, my friend Fernando.
And then once again I was filled with rage and confusion. But then she was still there, singing to me.
I would, my friend Fernando.
But it's not just that. This scene pulls a similar trick to the Dancing Queen scene. It uses the same camera angles over and over with such little change between each shot that it feels like a prank. From the beginning of the song, the scene goes shot, reverse shot, reverse shot, reverse shot, reverse shot, reverse shot, reverse shot, for 2 minutes and 30 seconds before we see any other type of shot. Technically, it does punch in on Cher one time in there to break the pattern, but from the beginning to there, it's still 1 minute and 34 seconds. Completely unbroken. It is seriously one of the boldest and strangest and most hypnotic filmmaking choices I have ever experienced.
Perfect. Good.
And the thing that makes it so incredible is that by the time we're 2/3 of the way through the song, we have not once seen a single wide of the scene. We have never seen a single shot where they are both in the same frame. From when they first lock eyes to the first time they're in the same shot, it is 2 minutes and 22 seconds. For those 2 minutes, my mind was racing. Were there any other actors on set with Cher? Or was it just her? Did they shoot her on an entirely different day than him? Is she in the same geographical location as her scene partner? Okay, so like, upon rewatching, looks like Amanda Seyfried is in there a little bit, but until she reaches step 10, there are no other humans in this Cher shot. But then we see the crowd standing there at the bottom of the stairs, making me wonder if they were just there for the whole shot, just out of frame? But then eventually we see them in the same shot around verse 3 of Fernando in the center of the plaza. So they were on set together for at least a little bit? Why was it edited like they were from separate universes? Why didn't we get like one wide shot to place them in context? Also, it's just really funny to me that she's only in one scene, which means she was on set for no more than like a day or two. Because of course not. Of course Cher isn't gonna sign up for a months-long shoot when she can sign up for a few days. What a fun movie this has been. I'm sure this moment is the last of its surprises. I'm sure we're just gonna coast till the end of 15. Oh my god, it's Meryl Streep! That's right, f***er, she is in this movie, and she's dead. She's a ghost!
Like an image passing.
This movie is nothing but left turns, and, unsurprisingly, she absolutely crushes it. She's really good. I teared up in the theater.
You will be my love and my life.
I cannot tell you how incredibly relieving it is to find out after an hour of thinking Meryl Streep wasn't gonna be in this movie, even though she's on the posters, to see her in this movie. Just look at her. If there was any movie where she would have the option of phoning it in, it would be Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
You're my one and only.
16, dance party. Then, just like in the first movie, they have a sparkly little dance party over the credits.
I was sick and tired of everything. How can anyone?
And Meryl stayed for this, so did Cher.
Tonight the super trooper lights are gonna find me. Super trooper beams are gonna fly.
These boys are having a beer. Every character that has a younger version dances with them, and they all have such fascinating dynamics.
Feeling like a number, shining like the sun, smiling, having fun. Feeling like a number
this is what happens when I die.
Like the super trooper, beams are gonna blind me, but I
Conclusion. This movie can be so many things. It can be a simple night out with the girls to giggle and see some sexy actors sing some tunes. It can also be a disorienting and unnerving fever dream. But it so clearly prioritizes having a good time. And I think that's honestly kind of rare. What other movies can you think of that will sacrifice making any damn sense to deliver the most enjoyable experience? This movie exudes joy. And it's so, so strange.
There's you, true lights are gonna find me.
Thank you for watching! If you liked this video and know someone who'd like it, send them the link. Send them a little text, post it on Reddit or something. I really need to know if other people feel the same way about this movie as I do. If you want to get access to some bonus content, get your name in the credits, head on over to my Patreon, where for as low as $3 a month, you can help support this channel and help me to eat. It just hits us with an establishing shot of exterior Tokyo, and it just says Tokyo, Japan, and you're like, why are we here? All right, well, see you next time. Bye.